So, hello and welcome. Today we are looking at all of our world, Opsapuduk, through all of its history. If you have half an hour or so, we'd love to have you come along. So, Buddy has some thoughts about the start of the world and the challenges of creating when you have nothing of interest to build onto, or something like that. Today we will be mostly reading through the calendar and then contemplating and considering what it means. Later on, Turtle goes on a bit of a rant. Apparently, some of our world's history hits close to home. So, what do you think? Is there any way to help Turtle with his concerns, or maybe we should just move on? We are Wild Art Fly Free, and we are all about community. And we're going into wildartflyfree.org, our website, and reading off the timeline. Year 0 to 10 million years ago. 18.5 million BTE to 8.5 million BTE years ago. Fossils that far back are rocks and the occasional computer chip. Few people on our world will know what a computer chip is, so no worries. BTE. Well, for now it means before the event. BTE means before the end. BTE means before the event. We don't know what the event is, so we appreciate your help with that. Any ideas? What kind of event would cause people to reset their calendars? Anyway, let's move on. 10 million years to 15 million years before the event. Remember, we're counting down because we're getting closer, moving forward in time. 10 million years to 15 million years from the start of the planet. So that's counting up. The first one was 0 to 10 million years, which is 18.5 million BTE to 8.5 million BTE. So the BTE numbers will be counting down while the million years numbers will be counting up. So 10 million years to 15 million years since the start of the planet. 8.5 million BTE to 3.5 million BTE. People were shorter then and made stuff out of rocks. These are the ages from the beginning of life to giant dinosaurs and many creatures we have not seen on Earth. People were always around, though. Some were pretty strange and primitive. Do you have any ideas what a person would look like back then? Okay, 15 million to 15 million plus 17 years. So that's 3.5 million BTE to 3,449,324 years before the event. We're getting rather specific here. Why? Something happened that year, didn't it? A really big magic thing hits the planet. It kills almost everyone, but it brings magic to the world. Okay, yeah, that's a big event. And that happened. Hello, and sorry to interrupt the history reading, but Bunny has some things to say about the history before the history.
Nothing is perfect. Okay, now, we here at Wild Art Fly Free always remember that perfection is fragile, temporary, impossible, and prone to explode. So nothing exploded. The nothing that we started with was too perfect, and so it blew up. That was the explosion that created everything. Isn't that a wonderful story? There are other ideas that make a lot more sense, but they aren't good stories at all. After nothing went wrong and then blew up, we had everything. Except that, everything was just a mess. It was total chaos. Unfortunately, it wasn't a very good mess. It was made from totally random chaos. We like chaos that has some patterns mixed in. Usually, when something explodes, it creates a chaos that is made up of a confusion of patterns. Sadly, when nothing blows up, the chaos is totally random. It's hard to think up any stories from a chaos with no patterns at all. So then, we need to wait for a few billion years. The universe was total chaos, but it did have a rule. It told the stuff that it should get together. Turtle would say it's because of gravity. But, when I asked Turtle what made the gravity, he didn't know. So, I say that stuff wants to get together because it's lonely. Call that gravity if you want. So, stuff got together and built rocks, and they got together to build planets. Planets got together and made bigger planets, and then big planets got together and things got a little heated. So we got stars. Yay! Then we could have life and stuff. But, okay. The universe is big, and so, the stuff keeps following the universe's law and getting together. So stars got together with other stars and made really big stars. They were big and hot, and from a star's viewpoint, they were perfect. So they blew up. But, now, from a story's viewpoint, this is better than when nothing blows up. Because, when a star blows up, it makes patterns. This is where we get the good chaos from. When interesting perfections blow up, we get to play with the chaos that they leave behind. That is where we can start our story. This is where we can start the story of Opsipudok.
That happened 3,449,324 years before the event. Parts of our planet are thrown into space to create the 7 moons. Moonlight becomes the greatest source of magic for our world. So, whatever hit the planet was bigger than 7 moons, probably. One would assume that the 7 moons are created out of it, but maybe not. Could be the moons are made out of bits of the planet, and whatever hit our planet, Opsipuduk, whatever hit our planet was mostly magic. So, yeah, the dirt that made up the moons could come from Opsipuduk, and the magic came from whatever hit it. Maybe. What do you think? Is there anything else? Any other ideas? Okay. 15 million plus 17, so the date that happened, 15 million plus 17, is when the magic thing hit the Earth, to 18,449,331 years. Again, something very specific. So in event times, that's 3,449,324 years before the event to TE, the event. Okay, so this is the event. So we'll find out now what happens. No, we don't, because we don't know what happened. Again, if you have any ideas what was so important that people reset the calendars to this date, let's hear your thoughts. Life rebuilds. So this is during the time after the moons were created and killed most of the people, most of the life. Life rebuilds. Humans try out many different shapes and sizes and different relationships with magic. Most species will not survive long, but strangenesses will always happen. Okay, the event. It's from the start of the planet, Opsapuduk, 18,449,331 years after the start of the planet, the event. We don't talk about the event at least until we decide what the event was, but it was important. From now on, we measure the time from TE. So, the event. So whenever we figure out what the event was, it would be really handy if we could use the initials TE. Just a thought. TE to 3,000 years, the Stone Age. Okay. 3,000 to 3,500 years, the first Bronze Age, suggesting there was more than one Bronze Age. 3,500 to 3,900 years, the first Iron Age. 3,900 to 4,100 years, the Bronze Resurgence. Okay, so we had an Iron Age. It doesn't say here, but I think what happened was iron messes with magic. So as people developed technology to use iron, right, it's stronger, harder. Things get sharper with iron than with bronze. Better weapons and other tools and cars, but they probably didn't get that far. So the Iron Age was coming along, but if it messed with the magic, then yes, there would be a lot of magical people that wouldn't like that. So that's what happened to the Iron Age, and we can certainly talk about that more later. So, and that would have come to an end around 3,900 years TE. ATE, after the event, 3,900 to 4,100 years after the event, the Bronze Resurgence. So apparently we got rid of the Iron Age and brought back bronze. Okay, 4,100 to 4,300 years, the Turtle Octo Alliance. Turtle Wars. It doesn't say here, but I believe there was a war between turtles and octopuses. So, do you say octopi or octopuses? I don't think you should say either. What do you think? Anyway, they in the sea probably, although turtles and octopuses both can survive on land for a bit. So what would civilizations of turtles and octopi, what would that look like?
Penguins are not dolphins. I say that penguins are not dolphins so that I can point out a common logic mistake that too many people make. It goes like, all dolphins eat fish. And, penguins eat fish, therefore penguins must be dolphins. Of course people don't really mistake penguins for dolphins. But, those people do make that kind of logic mistake when the results are not so obvious. So, almost everyone who was on the side of the turtles in the war against the octopus peoples were turtles. But, yes, while I am a turtle, I want to point out that I have never fought against an octopus. I have never even talked to an octopus. Octopuses live in the sea. I am a land turtle, that is, I am a tortoise. So, I don't pick fights with sea creatures. Also, I really want to make this clear, our fantasy world is not real. It is all made up and being made up more, by us. So, I could not have been personally involved in a war that never really happened and furthermore probably was some time in the future from when we are now, but not really because none of this is real. Oh, okay. Thank you.
.300 to 7,000 years ATE after the event, the Second Iron Age. So 7,000 to, and then we don't know. So I guess we're still thinking about that. Into the future, still brainstorming. Automagitech life forms evolve. Automagitech life forms. Okay, robotics, magic robots. Is that fun? Is that scary? Automagitechs become the dominant life form on the planet. They are decimated by Magi bio disease. Was it Magi bio warfare? Okay, so stuff happens, even to automagitechs. Automagitechs are subdued and in many cases enslaved. Okay, I'm guessing maybe by us peoples that aren't made out of machines. Intergalactic explorers discover our planet, Opsapuduk. Magic is rare across the galaxy, and our world becomes a much sought after and fought over resource. So this is all into the future from what we're thinking about, but it's fun to think about what might happen. And if you want, feel free to build this part of our world too. Tell us what you think. Should we be playing with this? Okay, galactic forces join or are subdued and peace ensues. Our world becomes a protected site and extrastellar visits are restricted to a limited number of researchers and very wealthy tourists. Okay, so our planet Opsapuduk becomes a tourist trap after the automagitechs are subdued. Or maybe they break free and they're the ones in charge now. A series of magical mishaps convinces the galaxy that our world's magic is unlucky and can cause impotence among middle-aged men. Our world is left alone and forgotten. We don't have any dates for all that stuff. This is just, we were speculating a bit, so having fun. So that is our calendar. Rough and open as it is, so lots of places for us to play around. Please share your ideas. Help us fill us in. What happened back in the prehistory. How does that affect us today? Today as in, well, I guess we haven't set our current date. I believe we think it is sometime during the first Bronze Age. Where are we? The first Bronze Age. 3,000 to 3,500 years after the event. So the event has already happened. That's something in our history. And yeah, the first Bronze Age. We don't have much written down here, so that's stuff we can think about. Well, thanks for getting this far. If you did skip over some stuff, we certainly understand, and points for you for being clever and for having basic survival instincts. The next video that we are working on will be 3 stories that we are currently playing with. Tinkle is adventuring with Eastleigh, but Tinkle's story is going to take on an interesting twist. Another story that we want to fill out more is Yizi's journey that will bring her to Swanford. We need to know where she is coming from and places she is traveling through. So we have Tinkle and Eastleigh. Then we also have Yizi or Yixi and her group. Then for the third story we want to follow in our next video, we have Eeks, of course. Eeks wants to learn about goblins. He talks to a dwarf, Chug's Kid, in Swanford, and it looks like he's going to go to Dog's Digs, the mining area, to teach some young goblins how to be less like goblins. Does that sound like it might make a good story? So please join us for those future videos. If you want to see those future videos, just remember to click the subscribe, and grabbing the like button at the same time is a good idea too. We thank you very much for that. It really helps us.